Is the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G worth buying in 2022? Well, in this video, we're going to find out. Hi everyone, this is Kevin here, and this is the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G. Now this device was launched in February of 2021, and since then, this phone has been a major success for Samsung. I know especially in the US, this phone has been extremely popular on the various prepaid carriers, like Metro by T-Mobile and Cricket Wireless, for example. And one of the reasons for that is because they've been offering some really incredible promotions and deals for this device. Now, of course, at the time you're watching this video, that might be a bit different, so definitely take a look at the various links in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing and availability for this phone. Now, in addition to being popular in the US, this phone is also sold all around the world, and there are some differences between the international model of the phone and the US model, but essentially the biggest differences include the RAM and storage. So for the US model of this device, we're getting 64 gigabytes of internal storage and 4 gigabytes of RAM, versus for the international model of the phone, we're getting 128 gigabytes of internal storage and 6 gigabytes of RAM. And in addition to that, there are some differences with the refresh rate for the display as well. This phone has a 90 Hz refresh rate in the US, and at least for most international models of the device, we're getting 60 Hz for the display. So I just wanted to point that out, that there are some differences based on which region you get this phone in. So hopefully now that I've cleared that up, there won't be any confusion. Hopefully in the future, Samsung will do a better job naming their devices with different names to reflect the different features that you're getting, but this is how it is. Now with the Galaxy A32 5G, we're getting a 6.5-inch display, so a very large display here with the phone. It does feature TFT display technology, which isn't anything too impressive, but it does get the job done. We're getting 720p as the resolution with a PPI of 270. We're getting a 20:9 aspect ratio, so a more narrow but taller form factor, and we're getting an 81.6% screen to body ratio. So this phone does have a little bit of a thicker bottom bezel, as well as a water drop notch up top. So I do wish that there was a hole punch instead for the front camera, and we had a smaller bezel on the bottom of the phone. But I suppose, considering that this is a very affordable phone from Samsung, you can't always have the most innovative designs. Now, as far as the display being 720p, it definitely doesn't look like it's 1080p, but at the same time, it doesn't look too bad either. So I would say for most people out there, as long as you keep your expectations in line with the cost of the phone, then I think you're going to be pretty satisfied with the display. Again, since it is 6.5 inches, it is nice having such a large canvas to view content on, whether that's video content, articles, ebooks, really for any task that you're doing here on the phone. Having a larger display like this is going to make it a lot easier to see what's actually on the display. Now the front-facing camera with the device is 13 megapixels, and a little bit later on in the video, I'll show you all the various cameras and the various features that you're getting with them. Now again, as far as internal storage goes, if you're getting this phone in the US, you're getting 64 gigs of internal storage, and if you're getting this phone in other countries outside of the US, then you're most likely getting 128 gigs. Now with the Galaxy A32 5G, there is no wireless charging, which is a bit unfortunate, but we do have a fingerprint sensor here on the power button. So we'll give that a try right now, very quick. One more time, very fast. So I do appreciate that that is very fast and accurate, and I also like that it is on the power button. That does make it very convenient. In addition to that, we also have Face Unlock here with the phone, so I do appreciate that there are multiple methods for getting into it. Now taking a look at the camera module on the back of the device, we do have a quad camera setup. We're getting a 48 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can take images at 123 degrees. We're getting a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode, which is supported, by the way, for the rear and front cameras on the device. And we're getting a 5 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. Now here's the camera app on the device. This is with the standard camera right now. So you can take pretty good looking images with that. Then from there you can switch over to the ultra wide angle camera to fit a lot more content into the frame. This is especially useful in outdoor environments because, like I mentioned a minute ago, with the ultra wide camera, you can fit a lot more content into the frame. This especially comes in handy if you're on vacation, for example, maybe taking some pictures outdoors. If there's like a large building and you want to get the whole building in one photo, the ultra wide camera is great for that. And if you want to change things up a bit, using the ultra wide camera can definitely make things look a bit more interesting. Then from here, we can go over to the More tab, where you can access macro. And with the macro camera, you can get very close up here. Again, keeping things in very good detail. You can also go over to portrait so that you can get those nice blurred out backgrounds. And again, this is for both the rear and front camera as well. So there's me through the front facing camera. We can also go over to this wider group selfie mode, which is pretty cool. And of course, you can take standard selfies if you want to as well. We can also head over to the video tab, and from there we can see some of the various resolutions that we can take video in. So for the front-facing camera, it does max out at 1080p at 30 FPS. And then flipping around to the rear camera, it does support UHD 4K video at 30 FPS. So it is nice that we can record in a variety of different resolutions here with the phone. Now moving on to the processor and RAM. So again, if you do get this phone in the US, and especially from a prepaid carrier, you're most likely going to be getting 4 gigabytes of RAM. But in other parts of the world, you might be getting more RAM with the phone. But I did run a Geekbench 5 benchmarking test here with the device, and I'll show you the score from that test right now. But essentially, I got a single core score of 504 and a multi-core score of 1670. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of whether or not the Galaxy A32 5G is going to be a performance upgrade for you. But in general, I've been pretty happy with the performance of the phone. Things do run decently smooth here considering that it is a very budget entry-level device. And while the performance that you're getting with the phone is nowhere near a higher-end smartphone, whether it's from Samsung or Apple or any of those other companies, you're pretty much getting here what you're paying for. So you're not paying for a very high-end phone, so you're not going to get a high-end phone in return. So for what it is, it does work pretty well. So again, if you're a power user, maybe you're someone that's always on your phone, for example, then I would say get something better. But if you want a phone just to use for texting occasionally, phone calls, emails from time to time, and occasional web browsing and social media, then the Galaxy A32 5G should be adequate for you. Now, I almost forgot when I was talking about the RAM and processor to mention the processor. So the processor here with the phone is the MediaTek Dimensity 720 5G processor. So with that, of course, and hence the name of the phone, you do have 5G connectivity here as well. So it is pretty cool that lower end phones such as this one do have 5G support. I'm sure someday that will pretty much be every phone out there. But even at this point, there are still a lot of lower end smartphones that are LTE only. Now with the Galaxy A32 5G, we're getting a 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery, and we're also getting 15 watt fast charging. So it is nice that we're getting such a large battery here with the phone. And of course, with having a large battery, you do need pretty rapid recharging in order for it to recharge in a pretty timely manner. So having 15 watt fast charging is pretty nice here. But now that we've gone over the various highlights with the Galaxy A32 5G, let's take a closer look at the hardware. Now, I already talked quite a bit about the front panel here, but overall things look pretty good. Maybe not the most innovative design ever, but at the same time, it doesn't look too bad either. Now taking a look at the left side of the phone, we have the slot for the micro SD card and SIM card. On the right side, we have the power button, which is also the fingerprint sensor, volume down, volume up. Then up top here, a noise canceling microphone. And then on the bottom of the phone, 3.5mm headphone jack, microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, and the speaker. Now this phone is made completely out of plastic, minus the display. So we do have a plastic band running around the sides of the phone, and this material on the back is made out of plastic, even though it does actually look decently premium. Now on the back of the phone, we do have, of course, the camera module and Samsung logo, and that's pretty much it. So a pretty minimalist design overall. I do like this blue color. I think it looks really good. The phone is being offered in some other colors as well, so I'm really curious to know which color you prefer. And then the back of the phone does feature a glossy finish, and it does pick up quite a few fingerprints, but in general, I do think it looks good. And if it did have a frosted back instead, I think that would have looked even better. But overall, I'm pretty happy with what we're getting here. So is the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G worth buying in 2022? Overall, I would say if you can get it for a pretty decent deal, it is worth it. But I would not pay full price for it. And the reason for that is because I would rather buy a higher end, better smartphone that's used instead of buying this phone for full price. But it really depends on which deals are out there, and I'm really curious to know if you own this phone already, what deal or promo did you use when getting it? Or did you pay the full retail price? I'm definitely curious to know. But this is Kevin here. This is the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G in 2022. Take a look at the various links in the video description to see the most up-to-date pricing and promos. But with all that said, I will see you in the next video. Take care.